Hello and welcome to part 2 of the history of saving your game. In part 1 we talked about passwords, floppy disks, and save batteries, as well as the paranoia they create for collectors. And in this part we're going over the next evolutionary step of saving, flash on the cartridge that doesn't require a battery. It was the mid-90s and Nintendo was getting ready to develop their next console, the N64. Everything was gonna get improved: the graphics, the audio capabilities, the worlds to explore, the controller, well, they screwed that one up, and save features. You see, even though save batteries were a huge breakthrough, they dried out. When they dried out, your progress was gone. So Nintendo sought an alternative and chose to add a new option: double EP-ROM. It didn't require a battery, and was overall a better option. So most Nintendo 64 games use this method. Mario 64, Majora's Mask, and Star Fox 64 are good examples, but some N64 games like Ocarina of Time and Super Smash Bros. Stuck to batteries. This flash memory basically worked like an SD card or flash drive today. It could easily have data rewritten on it, and we wouldn't lose it when it lost power. The only problem you might have to worry about is sometimes the chip can be rewritten on so many times it no longer works, but I have never had it happen to me in any of my N64 games, nor do I hear people talk about it often, so you probably won't have to worry about it. When the N64 died and the GBA was the only cartridge console of the generation, it too used flash memory to save, at least for the most part. Just like on the N64, some GBA games stuck to batteries, but way less did, and some like Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald only used a battery to keep the internal clock on, and save the game's progress to flash. During the days of the Nintendo DS, it was flash memory's time to shine. Save batteries are now an impossibility, so every single DS game saved to flash on a DS cartridge. No need to worry, all of your adventures are permanently safe, or at least for 50 years before a cartridge has taken so many rewrites that it doesn't work anymore. But don't worry about that, the world isn't going to be around by then. The 3DS took after its predecessor, and Sony's new handheld console, the Vita, had a few games that used this method, but most chose to save to the PS Vita memory card for some reason, which sucks. There are a few differences from the gen before, like some titles using extra data from an SD card, but it's still more or less the same. At first it would seem like the Switch would be the same way, but I just found out after writing the script that Switch games actually save to the console's internal memory. Now I understand why so many people want to get Switch Online to back up their progress. I guess direct cartridge saves are dead now, which is kind of disappointing. It was pretty cool when you broke your old console and when you got a new one and all your saves were still there, but I can see why they did that. But you know what isn't over? The series, because in the next episode we're going over a save method that developed around the same time as this one: memory cards. Stay tuned for part 3.